Okay, will we go ahead, Aileen?
Actually, go ahead. Yeah, it's 11:30,
Yeah.
not to be delaying people because,
Okay.
look, we agreed 11:30 to 12. Great. I'll
Perfect.
hand over
Okay.
to you there, Alice. Great stuff. Thank you.
Aileen, thank you. Hi, everyone. I'm Alice, and welcome to our webinar today on SD Document Sender. Just a quick note before we go ahead with the demo, just to let you know that SD Document Sender can be downloaded from AppSource, and there is a free 30-day trial. So after this webinar here and demo of Document Sender's functionality and capabilities, feel free to go AppSource, search for SD Document Sender, and just select the free trial. And you'll be brought then to, once you've downloaded and installed your free trial, it's 30-day free trial, no obligations. And when you've installed it, if you just navigate and search in the Tell Me for SD Document Sender Setup, you'll just go in there, you'll activate your free trial, and then just click the Assisted Setup button, and that will download data to get you started, jobs and templates, and you can play around and see how Document Sender can work for you. Okay, so Document Sender manages automated or manual emailing of your standard Business Central documents to your correct points of contact. You can send to multiple points of contact. And not only can you email documents from Document Sender, you can also choose to print your documents and place them in a folder for print. You can place documents out onto Azure Blob Storage, and you can also transfer the documents out to an SFTP server if you have one of these set up. So in your setup card, you can set up your blob storage. And also you can choose to send your emails either using the standard Business Central email accounts, or you can use an email API. You can set up Microsoft Graph API, which allows you to send emails as well. It's just a different form of allowing you to send your emails from Business Central. So rather than using the email accounts, you can use this email API. It's a function app that you can set up on Azure. Okay, so with SD Document Sender, I'll just bring you into the job. So once you import your assisted setup, these jobs are set up in the database for you. And you can see out of the box, you can send sales quotes, you can email sales quotes, sales shipments, invoices, credit memos, your statements, your customer remittance. You can send emails using your customer table. You can decide to maybe, if you might want to filter on certain customers, you might want to send them a certain, promo link or a happy Christmas reminder or advising of other information. You can do that. You can send customer reminders or purchase orders. You can email out invoices, remittance, and then any vendor reports as well. So, as I say, it allows you to automate or email manually these standard Business Central documents. Also with flexible email templates, with a HTML editor, if I'll just go into this quote, for example. So when you're sending out your sales quote job, you can attach this template. And in here, you can set up the subject of the email. So with your sales header number, it gives you variable placeholder data and your customer name. You can add in placeholder fields from the document that's associated with the template. Also for this document, type a sales quote your customer and your contact. So you can see your variable placeholder data there. So this HTML editor, it allows you to easily achieve like a professional and consistent email communications across all the range of documents that you're going to issue through Document Sender. As I say, these variable placeholder fields, you can set up and Word, whatever you want, how you want the email subject to look. So there's that flexibility there. And as I say, you can set it up then and have it consistent across all your documents that you're going to issue out through SD Document Sender. Okay, so suppose the most important, the concept in Document Sender would be that of your jobs. And these jobs in SD Document Sender, they allow you to define a number of different setups. We'll go into the sales invoice here as an example. It's probably one of the most common documents that you'd be emailing out. So in our job, you can define your delivery method. So with SD Document Sender, you can set up to deliver your invoices in this example by using email, either using the standard Business Central email accounts or using the email API. You can also deliver by print. You can also place your documents out in Azure Blob Storage, or if you have set up a file transfer, you can transfer the documents from Business Central out up to an SFTP server. So direct point of transfer there. So this is your job. To your type, as I say, once you install the assisted data, the assisted setup, all this data will be inserted for you. But these are the different document types that you can choose from. So this one is our sales invoice. As I say, your delivery method. You can also set up certain security groups so that perhaps only people, you might only want certain people to be able to view the drafts of the documents that you deliver and generate. Configuration here, it allows you to choose your attachment. So you've got PDF, Word, Excel, electronic document, or you can send both PDF and electronic document. So you might want to use the electronic documents, for example, if you want to place invoices out on Azure Blob Storage folder, or perhaps transfer them up to an SFTP server. Also, for some of the document types, like the sales invoices, you might want to attach linked files. You might have some files on your sales invoice record, and you might want to also attach those documents when you're emailing out your document through SD Document Sender. Within each job, you can also define the filters that you want to set on a report. When you're generating the report, if I just pop out here maybe to the quotes for 1 second. Again, you can see it's all similar fields and choices, but here just on this, you might just want to email out your released sales quotes. So then you just set up a filter here just saying that the status will be released. So when the documents are being generated, the drafts are being generated by Document Sender, it's only going to look for released quotes. And you can set up filters for any of the other fields that are on the sales header as well, the sales quote. We just go back into sales invoice. So also with the email, you can just define there who your email account is it's going to send from. So it's just, sending from my current user account. That's my email address there. The template code, that's where I went through earlier. Here you have your email subject and the email body that will be generated once your draft is generated using Document Sender. And also then you can define your recipients. So with Document Sender, you can define multiple recipients. You can choose to define to send the email to the account. So that's going to be your contact on, in this example, it's a sales invoice. So the account on the email on the customer card. You can also choose the account contact. So for this example, it would be the primary contact on your customer card. You can choose also to send to a specific email address. So that might be coming from your account's email that you want to maybe send a CC copy so you can just keep track. You can also choose to send the email, to your document contact, the email on your document, job responsibility contacts or mailing group, perhaps to the account sales purchaser. So there's a lot of flexibility there with the different recipients that you can send the emails to. And also, another good feature is additional attachments. You might want to send, say, a certain promotional flyer or just a general newsletter for a certain amount of time when you're sending out your sales invoices or any of your other documents. So this additional attachments fast tab allows you to do that there. So you can just simply import a new file. Just use this one here. And you can also put a start from and to date as well if you just want the additional document to be attached to your sales invoice email for a certain amount of time. Okay, so once all of that is set up, you've decided on your from email address and what report you want to send, what sales invoice. For this example here, I'm just sending out the sales invoice report from our SD document pack. So that has a consistent look and feel throughout all the reports that are provided in the document pack app. Okay, so we'll just simply generate drafts. So for this webinar, I'm just going to show you how to generate them manually, but you can also set up job queues to automatically create and issue, which would generate and send the drafts for the job. So just as I say, for this example, we'll just do a manual. So this is just generating the emails, because that's our delivery method we've chosen for this. And we'll just go out to our role center here and have a look. So this is a Krona database. So Krona's database, so it's only a small amount of data, it's limited data in here. So you can see here we have in our generated drafts, the delivery method is going to be using the email account. This is our job type. We have our various different sales invoices. We have our account, who it's going to go to, our email subject, the template that was used when it was created. And here in our fact box, we can see our recipients here for our first email. These are the recipients it's going to go to. And also we have our attachments. So this is the sales invoice that's been generated. So that's how it would look there. And then also we have that promotional flyer document that's going to go out with the sales invoice. And then you can also get a preview there of the email content, of how it's going to look when it goes out. Okay, and then just some additional detail there. So if you were to issue the drafts, you can choose to issue them all. And as I say, if you were to set up a job queue, the emails would be generated and they would also be issued automatically. So you could set it to run at a certain time of day or out of hours. And if you have for your different delivery methods, so if I was to issue the draft here, say, and the delivery method was SFTP server, it would just, you wouldn't have a to email address in the fields for your recipients. It would just place the documents out onto your SFTP server or to your Azure Blob storage. So if we just choose to issue all the drafts, so they'll just send out now. So I will get errors in my Outlook outbox, because these email addresses here, this contoso.com, they're not real email addresses. They're just Business Central email addresses that are set up just for testing. So that's all generated out. And if we go into the history now, you'll have a history is kept of the documents that you've issued, that you've sent out using Document Sender. So for all the different document types. Also, you might want to, if you ever want to resend from history, there's the option to resend from history there. Which just makes it easy to and that is your history there. Also, I've just, for print, it should retain the history of anything with the delivery method of print, anything you've placed out in your Azure Blob storage, and the same with your SFTP server. So all the history is kept there. So another feature of Document Sender, just go in here. So for the jobs that you have enabled, not only can you generate your drafts from here manually, you can also generate them automatically using job queues. But also, if you were to go to a sales quote or a sales invoice or a sales order, I'll just show you the sales quotes. Okay, and say, for example, this sales quote here, you can just easily, from the fact box, email select a document. That will bring up the email for you, generate the template, the email subject and header, and attach the quote document. You can just view it here. And there's your document there attached, your sales quote, and you can see your recipients. So you can also use Document Sender within the actual transaction cards to email and issue your drafts. Okay, and then you've got the history there as well. So for this customer, you can see the history. There's 5 items in history, 5 documents that have been issued through SD Document Sender. One was a print, the others were using email. And for the sales quote, you can also see the history items. It also breaks it down by job type. So that's your sales quote there. Okay, so also I'll just briefly show you how I have a purchase order set up here to use Azure Blob Storage. So in the setup, the Document Sender setup, you would just set up the Azure Blob Storage account, the container name, and then the API key, which you will be able to get from your own Azure storage. And you just choose your delivery method of Azure Blob Storage. You'll see you can also set your filters. So we're just going to generate drafts for purchase orders with the status of released. All right, let me just, and because we're placing the generated documents out onto Azure Blob Storage once we issue the drafts, there's no need for recipients. Recipients wouldn't be applicable here. So what we're going to do is we're just going to generate our drafts. So that's looking for all our purchase orders in our Cronus database that have a status of released. So it's after finding 6 documents there. Generate those now. Again, this job could be set up using a job queue, so it would automatically generate the jobs for you using the standard job queues. Let's go back out here. And these are our purchase orders. So we have our drafts. It has generated recipients, but as I said, they're not applicable because it's a job type of, we're just going to send it out to Azure Blob Storage. No email content, because again, what we're just going to do is the drafts have been generated, but they'll be issued out to Azure Blob Storage rather than issuing them out through an email. Okay, so that's just an example of one of the purchase order documents there. I'll just choose to issue drafts. And that's just going to place the documents there out into our container out on Azure. So as I say, you might, instead of a PDF, you might have a use case scenario where you want to generate electronic invoices. And so they'd be XML files that would be generated when you'd run the drafts, when you generate your drafts, and you could place those electronic documents out in your Azure Blob Storage, out in the container out there, or send them directly to an SFTP server if you set up the SFTP server. So also, I'll just briefly show you from the customers. Again, you could maybe choose to set up a customer statement that you might want to run them off once a month, either manually or using a job queue. Or else you could use Document Sender to go in and individually send, sorry, let me go in here, send out a customer statement. So for this customer card here, you could just choose to email the selected document. So here we'd have a job type of statement, which we've enabled. And then we can issue out that document there to our recipients. It's picked up our recipients there according to the job card for the statement type. And again, it just attaches the customer statement there. So you can do that manually, or use back in the job. You can set up a job queue or manually yourself just to generate the emails for your delivery type of email for your customer statement. Again, as I say, this can be done using a job queue. And then we can see our drafts have been generated here. So they're all ready to be issued out. So there you can see your multiple points of contact for each of your different customers. So that's the emails will be sent to those points of contact. And again, history is kept of the documents you have issued using Document Sender. So just in here, this is where you would set up your job queue entries from here to generate the documents automatically. Okay, so that's it. I suppose a quick enough overview of the capabilities of SD Document Sender. I suppose the flexibility of it, that it allows you to email out drafts. You can also print the documents. You can place them out in Azure Blob Storage or send the documents out directly to the file transfer up to an SFTP server. Multiple points of contact. You're using those email templates. They can be very flexible because you've got all your placeholder data that you can have for your email. So each email that's sent out, that's issued, you can have a different fields, worded differently, how it would reflect the job. And I just have an example here. This would be, say, for one of the sales invoices using the template that we have set up. So it's sent to your multiple points of contact. You have your email subject. It has picked up the number of the invoice and the customer name as we've defined in the template, and also then has the name. You could put your contact name there rather than the customer name. So it just gives you that flexibility there. Okay, and also just for those jobs that aren't out of the box there, they can, if you had any other documents that you want to add, there's the flexibility there that they can be added in using extensions, so they can be added into the extra list of the job types that are available there. So we have all the main ones there, as I say, the sales quotes, the orders, shipments and invoices, purchase orders and purchase invoices there. Okay, so that's it. As I say, just a quick tour through what Document Sender can do. So if anyone has any questions, if you wanted to ask them now, or maybe email either myself or Aileen after the webinar, and we can get back to you on any questions you may have. Okay, thanks everyone.
Thanks, Alice.